this is a Power BI basically the description. So there are some couple of words which I want to emphasize. It's a business intelligence tool. So can anybody describe what is business intelligence for me, or what do you understand from business intelligence? Anyone, anything? Okay, so basically business intelligence is a set of processes or architectures and technologies that basically converts raw data into meaningful information that drives profitable business actions. Okay, so it's basically a suite of softwares and services to which transform the data into actionable intelligence and knowledge. So this is basically what is meant by business intelligence. And what is visualization? So okay, so basically in a simple word, visualization means it's a visual representation of data which gives meaningful insights. Okay, so basically visualization helps us to interpret large data set into meaningful information. Moving on to the next slide. So now this slides talk about the tools and building blocks. Okay, so we're going to discuss what are the tools which builds up Power BI. So first thing that we see here is Power BI Desktop. So Power BI Desktop is a local application which is installed and made available on Windows. Okay, so basically this is a Windows application which you can download and install on your system. Okay, so that's why the word local is mentioned here. So the first building block are the data sets. So what are data sets? Can anybody help me describe?
I think it's like a consolidated package of related information.
Yeah, that's correct. So in a very simple word, data set is nothing but a collection of data, right? So here we basically collect the data and then we build up a data sets. Yes, you're right, Subhash. Thank you. So the next one is visualization, where we visualize the data from the data set, what we have built earlier. And the next are the tiles. Tiles are nothing but basically small areas of sections of visualizations which are grouped together in a report. Okay, which is our next point. Reports, which are what are reports then? What are nothing but combination of different visualizations spanned across multiple pages. Okay, so this is the first building block. The next building, so this building block is for the for one or two people to develop basically and to share. So this remains in the desktop of people um, which has the Power BI desktop installed, and they imported some data from, let's say, various sources, let's say Excel, CSV, or web, and they create some visualization, and then they keep it on to themselves, either for themselves or to share it with one or two people. So that's what that's when the Power BI desktop comes into picture. The next building block is the Power BI service, which is a cloud-based service. Now, if you see the components here, so one is datasets, which is colored in red, and the other visualization tiles and reports. These all building blocks are available in Power BI service, but they have a different functionality. So in cloud, basically, so when does the Power BI service come into picture? It comes into picture when we want to share your data with colleagues and collaborate with team in a project. So if you want to share your visualization to a broader audience, or let's say you are working in a team where different part of the things have been assigned to each of them, and you want to collaborate and build a common graph or visualization, this is when you will come into Power BI service. So the reason why the visualization tiles and reports are grayed out is because the main tool that is used to create visualization is the Power BI desktop, where you create these visualization, such as uh, you know uh, you create graphs in a tile and then build a report, and then you export these things into cloud, which is nothing but Power BI service. So this is where you reuse the things which you developed in the Power BI desktop. Okay, so and the very important thing which is available only in Power BI service is the dashboard. So you can create dashboard uh, in Power BI service. Dashboards are nothing but the different tiles from various reports. You can uh, decide which one should be a part of your dashboard, and you can build a common dashboard for various reports. And the last one is the share results. So Power BI service is mainly used for sharing your work. So that's why the share results. Any questions so far? So we'll see all this in action in the demo, so you'll understand more what this means. So I guess there's no question, so we'll move on. The next building block is the Power BI Mobile, which is like this tool basically allows you to access the data from Power BI service to view on mobile devices. So people can install this mobile device and they can log into the Power BI service and they can see the visualization on their mobile. So you can only view here. You cannot edit or do anything on using mobile. And this app is basically available on Marketplace, and Power Play Store. So you can go ahead and then download and install them to see the experience. Okay, so the Power BI Mobile is just to see the visualization. You cannot edit it. Next one is the Power BI for developers. So Power BI provides you an API where you can create your own visualization, custom visualization. Okay, and you can embed in existing app, which is nothing but Power BI embedded. So Power BI mobile. The last one for developers we will not be able to cover in this. So maybe we can take a different session on this. But basically, you should be aware that this is also you can do in Power BI desktop, Power BI. Okay, you can create your visualization. Any question on this slide?
No.
Okay, cool. So so let's see what are the different products which are available in Power BI. So the first thing that we have seen is the Power BI. The Power BI is free, which is for your personal use. So you can so in this Power BI free service is available both in desktops. You can download the desktop and use it. And then if you have a developer, if you have created an Office 365 developer site subscription, so Power BI service is also will come free on this. One is Power BI Pro, where as we discussed earlier, it is where if you want to share your work with other colleagues or a team, you would be needing Power BI Pro license. Okay. And the last one is the Power BI Premium. So this is a product where if you want to develop large-scale BI deployment, which is across the enterprise, you would be needing Power BI Premium. Okay. Uh, So these are the links basically which will allow you to see the pricing which is available in different products. So if you see here, so the Power BI license comes with $9 monthly price with annual subscription. So if you convert it to Indian rupees, it would be somewhere around 660 rupees per month. Okay. And if you choose the Power BI Pro, which is like self-service and modern BI in the cloud, these things you can do over with Pro BI license. And if you go for premium, so there's a huge difference from Power BI Pro to Power BI Premium. So Power BI Premium is nothing is for meant for the enterprise BI, which is and then it involves advanced administration and deployment controls. It is having it gives you large compute power, and it allows uh, far more users to use the power functionality. So if you see, if you go down below, these are the things which is available in Power BI Pro and Premium. Please go through it. Any questions here? Okay, I guess not. Let's move on. So this is a product comparison of product Power BI. So if you see here on top of this, the Power BI desktop, which is a free edition. So these are things which you can do with that. You can get the data, you can use query editor, you can create new measures, new table, you can create new columns, and the relationship view, you can manage relationship and all those things. So, and this is what the Power BI service provides. Uh, Here you can export the data, ask questions about the data. The main important thing is you can schedule refresh using this Power BI service. Okay, here if you see 1 GB of 1 GB dataset you can create, and the data limit is 10 GB per user. You can create data alerts, and all these things you can do with Power BI service. If you go a little further, the Pro will be if you have users from 0 to 500 users, you can go for Pro, where you can create and share your desktop and reports, create and publish views. The SharePoint modern web part will be available, so that in SharePoint's modern sites you can utilize that web part to see your Power BI reports, which we are going to see in this demo. And if you have a very large enterprise requirements, the users are more than 500, you will go for premium, which will give you an ability of incremental refresh. The capacity will be more, the storage will be high, and the performance will be very fast. And on premises, if you have a data in on premise and you want to show it on Power BI and then integrate with Power BI service, we need to use gateway, on premise gateway, which we are going to see in the demo. Okay, moving on to the next slide. So now we will see basically how from where you can download. We'll start with the Power BI desktop, which is like a tool for creating various reports. So you can download the Power BI desktop from this location. Uh, so if you go to the site, you can download it from here, or if you want in a different language, then you can click on this link. Okay, so if you click on this link, it will ask you which language you want to install the Power BI desktop to. So from here on, from the previous link, you can directly download the English version of it. So once you download this, you install this. This is the interface that you will get. Downloadable exe which will get installed. So I've already installed this on my system. So if you install it, it will get installed. Install it. This is how it will come. So you just invoke this. So it will start the application. So this is the screen that you see. From here basically it gives you some tutorial links, what's new, and some videos for you to help get familiarized with this tool. You also have a link here. This will show you the already created PBIX file. So this is nothing but the file which is getting created when you create a new project here. So this is the interface. Let's see how we start from here. So we usually start from here by getting the data. So so you click on this, get data. So in order to create any visualization, you need the data first. So these are the things which you can get the data from. So here you'll see you can select the category and select the options from here. And if you select all, these are the things, these are the sources from which you can import the data from. Okay. So in this basically demo, we will be getting data from the web, from SharePoint, and from a JSON file. This JSON can also come from web. So currently JSON file I have downloaded in my desktop, and we'll see how to import this. So three sources which you will see. This is not a mashup of data, but we will create three different reports out of this, which is data available on web, SharePoint, and JSON. So the first one is web. So you can find it from here. If you don't find it here very easily, you can also search for it. So since we have to get the data from web, we will select web here, and this is the option that comes around. Okay, we will select the web, and we click on connect. Now we need the URL from where to pull the data. So we go. So for this demo, I will be getting the GDP data for all the countries in the world. So I have a link which provides me the this data. So if I search IMF World Outlook database, economic database, it gives me a site which I'm going to click on this, and it gives me an option which country you want specifically, but I want all the country level data, so I click here, all the countries, click on continue, and anything I can select. So basically I'll just select this, so continue, prepare me a report. So this is the data which we will be trying to import in our dashboard and try to build some report out of it. Okay, so this is basically available in a table format. So what we will do, we'll grab the URL here and we will put it here. Okay, and click OK. So it will hit the query, and it will try to build up a components from reading that web URL. So there are four elements that you can see here. So which one is the table which we need? We'll have to click and then see. Here you will get to see the preview of it. So if you set that in the document, you have this data. Table 0 we have this. Table 1 have this, and table 2 have this. So I think by seeing the data, table 1 is the things we have to target. Correct? It looks the same. So also, if you are not sure about what I have to select and what I'm selecting, there is also a web view here, which will give you a web page layout. So if this is the page, it will tell that okay, table 0 has this, table 1 has this, table 2 has this. But looks like the table that we are interested in is the table 1. So either you can select this from here, or you can select this from here. Either way you can do. So this is the table that you're going to import the table in this tool. So if you have to do any data cleaning or anything, you can click on transform data. But if your data is very clean and you are confident that it needs no adjustment, you can directly click on load. But there will be some data cleaning I have to do here, so I would be clicking on load transform data. So what this transform data will do, it will open the query editor, the Power Query editor, where you can clean up the data. So let's click on transform data. So this is the basically interface which will be presented to you when you click on transform data. So here they have certain tabs here. So if you want to get a new source here, you can click on this. If you want to manually enter some data here, there are some various options which you're going to see some of them in this demo. So this is the data, and then also we have something like the property. What is the table name that you want to give? So let me change this to like world GDP. Okay, you'll see the table name has been changed here, and what you see here is the applied steps. So whatever changes that you do in this query editor will be added as one by one step. So the first thing what we did here, we got the source, correct? So here this is the source, and then this is the navigation. We selected table 0, and this is the thing that we have changed the type. So these are the things that has already taken place when we came here. Now here you can see the column names are very confusing. Basically, it's not usable. So column 1, column 2, column 3, right? So there are some discrepancies here, and then we see that these are the things that we may not need in my report, right? And this is the things that looks like the column names, right? So there are the things that we are going to do. First thing is we will have to remove the first row. This is not relevant for us. So in the ribbon we have something called remove rows. Okay, so you click on this. Oops. So what it did was it removed the column. Sorry. So I have to click on remove rows, but I have clicked on remove columns. So how do I undo this? I can undo it by just removing this step here. See, so that is the advantage of applied steps. Whatever things or whatever you want to change here, you can do it from applied steps. So what I will do is I will use the remove rows options here. So there are various options. You can remove top rows or bottom rows or alternate rows or duplicate rows from here. So I'll select remove top rows. So it will tell you how many rows we have to remove. So how many rows do I have to remove? Anyone? Guys, hope you are there with me.
Yeah, Rahul. First row, as of now, we are targeting first row. We want to delete the
Okay,
first.
great, thanks. So we will add one here and we will say okay. So the first row is removed. Now what we see is we need to propagate these the first row things as my columns, right? So what we will do here is there's an option called use first row as header. So I'll click that and you'll see that the first row has become my headers. So the column names looks meaningful now, right? So there are some columns which I don't need. For example, the script descriptor, right? So and the units and this. So what do? I can remove these columns, right? So in the tool you can click on control and then you can keep on selecting the things that you don't need and click on delete button. So I just click on delete and the columns will be removed, and the last column also I am not required. I don't need it, so I'll delete these also. Okay, so from the columns perspective we are okay. Now here another thing what I want to check is whether does it have all the meaningful data or does it have any null or anything which is not relevant for us. So we can do that by clicking on this filter, and what we see we have some NA values. Other things are fine, right? So I can just unselect it and click on OK. So what we'll do is it will remove NA from all these columns wherever the NA is. And if you can see one steps are getting added as and when I do those steps. So if I want to see what you can click on this and you can see basically what are the things that we did. And if you see on top, you can see some things like this is basically a formula bar where everything happens automatically whenever you choose anything here on the tool. So it will tell you basically what all happens. So in this thing they have changed the type of this thing, these columns, and you can expand it to see it. It is not advisable to modify here anything until you know the M language. So here basically a language with the name M is being used to generate this kind of commands here. Okay, if you know M and if you're very confident, then you can directly change anything here. Okay. So my things are clean, but only thing what I see here is what I see here is that if I have to create a GDP based on country, I would need the year also and the data also, correct? So if my data is in the form of columns here, which I don't want, so that should be available as a in my data section. So what I can do with do it here is I will have to unpivot this. Unpivot this is means I want one more column of year and the GDP. So what I would do, I would have to uh, convert unpivot this data here. So I'll select that, and we have an option under transform called unpivot columns. So when I click unpivot columns, so what does it do? Sorry, some columns were not selected. I can undo this. So I have to select all the columns. So I'll click on shift and I can use my arrow key to select this. Click on unpivot columns. Okay, so now it makes sense because now I have year also and I have the corresponding GDP value also. So what I have to do now, here the column name is attribute. I can change it by double clicking it and giving it a new name, let's say year, and this thing will be GDP. Okay.
Rahul, 1 second.
Yeah.
So so previously all the column values year and everything were in columns, right? So the moment you do unpivot columns means it converted into rows.
That's correct. That's what unpivot means. Correct. You're correct.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Correct. So the next
And
thing
it is given for Afghanistan, right? So we for the year, right? GDP, GDP will give the sum of 2017 entire year, right?
correct.
Okay.
Okay. Another thing is, if you see here, the data type of this particular column is string. Correct. You can see it by seeing a small icon here, string, and you can also see it by the data type here, text. So here text is fine, but you see here this year is a numeric, but here it is shown as text. So I have to change the data type from text to whole number for the year. And for the GDP also, GDP comes in currency. So basically, I have to change it to fixed decimal number. Right. So now I see the data which I wanted in a particular format, and it has been cleaned, and I'm ready to build do a further modeling on this. So my cleaning of the data is done. So once I am done all this, so I can go to home and then close and apply. So what this close and apply will do is it will load the data onto your Power BI desktop. I'll close this apply. So you'll see that apply query changes. It's applying the query changes that we did, and it will bring the table here for us to create visualization on this. Okay. So so before doing visualization, so I want to tell you about these three icons here. So currently we are on this where we are going to build a report, and this is the area where we will be creating different tiles of visualization. Okay. Here in this thing, it will tell you about the data that we have imported, and if you click on this data, it will give you it will give you a preview of the things that we are going to build a graph of. Now here, one thing I want to change is the country is a text, but it's also belongs to a particular category, correct? It's of country category. So I have to give a proper category on this because it will help Power BI to generate helpful graphs for this categorization. So we'll see this what I mean. So you go to modeling, and there's a tab called data category here. So currently it is uncategorized. So I can click on this and then I can select it's a country or a region, right? So I'll give a category of country and region. So what happens internally, it will mark this column as country and region, and if you see here, earlier it was empty, now you can see a globe here, right? So in this tab, basically you can do many other things, like basically you can create a new measure, you can create a new calculate column, you can create a new table, you can sort by column, you can create a different assign a category how we did now, you can create a row level roles also here, and these things. So for now we will just skip this and then go to relationship view. So since we have only one table which is not related to any other table, so that's why it's coming as a single table. So let's go to the visualization and let's try to create some report out of it. So if you can see, this is my report builder, and then it is a page one. So I can rename this by right clicking and rename page. So I'll give this as world GDP title here. Okay, so I can create these many visualizations here. This is provided by um, Power BI tool. Okay, so if I don't create any visualization, and if I just drag and drop this country here, what will happen is Power BI know that this country column belongs to a category, country or region, right? So if I just drag it here, it will detect that and it will tell you which is the best visualization for that, which is nothing but a map, right? So it has automatically suggested for it to use a map, but you can always change it to any other visualization method that you want to build a report on. So you can either click on this and it will change the visualization type from the map to stock bar and other things. The here things data is not coming because we have not properly set this property for the field. So for the map, it all requires is the country. So in the location, it has selected country. Now it has different. So in order to create a map, so there are some different fields here which you can set. So for the legend, you can drag which is the field which is going to be playing the part of a legend. If you have a latitude, longitude, you can drag it here. Those fields. And what is the size? Size of nothing but the size of this wheel that you see, the circle, right? So if you want the size to be to grow in size or to become small based on the number of the value of GDP, this is the uh, field. So I want the GDP to play that role. So I'll just drag that field here into the size, and you can see that if there's a GDP is bigger, the circle size will be bigger, and if it is small, it will be smaller. Now, now there is too much of data, so it's not looking basically. It's very hard to find. So let's say that I want to see the top 10 countries here. So I want to filter the data based on the top 10 countries based on GDP. So if you see here, the column that we have dragged here, it also allows you to filter it. So for the country, if you click on this filter, so you can basically filter based on these many options here. So for us basically to see the first top 10 countries, so there's a top n option that you can select. So you can select it from top or bottom, but we want top. And how many? 10. By what value? GDP. So you can drag and drop the field here to GDP and apply the filter. So you see here, so the rest of the things, it's only going to show you the top 10 countries using this filter. So coming back to this, this is basically the configuration of the visualization that you are currently working on. So these are the things that you can use here, and other things is the formatting. So if you want to format this, let's say if you want to change the data color from blue to let's say black, you can do it here. Okay, and all the formatted related things you can do it here. Okay, and if you want to show the category, you can on this, so it will show you that, yeah, okay, this is the region, this is the country, which is showing you the data. So this is the configuration of the report, and this is the formatting of the report. So these are two things which are really useful. Okay, so let's close this. I think we are almost done with the report. So what I'm going to do now is let's save this report. So we'll just save this.
Rahul, this is Pradipta. I have one question. Is it possible to filter some dynamically, by targeting some user or some context basis?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, we can do that. So for that, so I'll come to that. So basically, you can do it using manage roles of security. Okay, so let's say that you are working in a corporate office, and then there are some sales representatives which you want to show this GDP, but you don't want to show the GDP for all the countries. You want to show it for only, let's say, United States.
Yes.
Okay, so for that you can do it using roles. So we will see that once we come to that roles.
Okay, okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. So what I have done is I have saved this report. So this report is done. So you can also create different reports. Basically you can use stacks and those things. But for now, for this report, I think the best thing is the map to show the data. Okay, so this covers the first thing. So let's start with JSON. So I have a JSON file with me. Let me show you the structure of that JSON file first. Okay, so this is my JSON file which I want to import it in Power BI. So let's say that this is a list of sales which is happening across different region, and these are the volume numbers. So for example, in the sales we have a region called China. The total volume comes up as 200, and inside that you see there's one more list called transactions. In the transaction we have something called date, and the volume for that generated date. Okay, so there's a two lists here. One is for transaction list and one is for sales. Sales is the main list, right? So that's how the data is grouped together. So I want you to pay close attention to how the data is, because that's how we are going to extract it and then build a report on. So have a look at it. So fine. So what I will do is first I have to import this JSON onto my Power BI desktop. So same thing. So I'll go to home, get data, and since the JSON is not here, I'll say more. So here it is. So you can select JSON and say connect. So if you have noticed, uh, one thing is that when we build this report for world GDP, the data is coming from a web, right? It's not on premises. But for JSON, the file is in on my laptop. So that is an on premises, right? So it's an example of on premise data. So why I'm telling this is basically we will create a scheduler on Power BI service for this data JSON. So it will automatically do the refresh of the data source through gateway. Okay, so first thing is we have to select a JSON. So this JSON again could be a file or it could be from a web also. But here in this case, I'm just picking it from the file. So I'll click on open. Okay, so now it has imported it. So what Power BI desktop has seen that sales is the column and it is a type list, right? And if you click on this, it will show you the type. So there are 5 records, but the data I can't see because it's in a record format, correct? So if you go back, so this is how sales, and then it notices that this is a list, right? So that's why it is coming as a list here, and the number it will count. So let's say it is 1, and then from here 2. So there are total 6 records like that. So what do we do here? We have to first convert it into a table, which is like convert. So when you say conversion to table, so it will say here, so the first thing will come in a row, sales, and again sales as a list, right? So what we have to do is we have to in order to create visualization, we need everything in a column level, right? So first what does so we have to expand this particular list into rows. So if you see one tiny little icon here which will say expand, so if you click on this, so expand to new rows. Now what did it do? It basically expanded these things into a new row, but still I can't see this, right? It's a record. So if you click on this, you will see the structure of it. So China 200 and a list is coming, correct? So China 200 and this is a list, so it cannot expand by itself, so that's why it has shown you as a list. So what you will do, you will have to again expand it further. So now it will show you what you want to expand. So You can unselect the things from here, and then, or you can select everything. We want everything, so we'll keep it as is. We'll uncheck it because we want the name to appear as is. Say OK. So now again, you see the transaction is a list, right? So that's why it is coming as a list. But so what you have to do again, you have to expand to new rows. So once you expand, then if you click here, then it will show the data inside each account. So I think for the last time you will have to click here and click on OK. So this is how you will be using the expand functionality here. So if you have noticed, whatever we have done is being recorded here. So if you want to see what all happened in the previous step, you can click on this and see. Right? This is what we did till now. These are the steps which we did. Okay. So time to quickly rename the column. So this will be total volume. This will be date, and this will be, let it be, volume. Okay. So now we see that the date column is data type is not correct, so we will select this and then change it to date and time, or date. It's a date, right? No time, so we'll select the date. Volume is again number, so fixed decimal number. Currency, total volume, again the currency, so fixed decimal numbers. Region is a text and number is a text, so everything is fine. So actually you don't need name, but let it be. We can remove it or we can keep it. So let's keep it. Difference. So I think now we are ready with that. So let's change this to invoice sales. Okay. So we are given a proper name, and then we are done with the query part. So let's close and apply. It will import the data onto your Power BI desktop, which will be available right here. So I have to create another page for another visualization. Let's say another page and rename it to invoice sales. Okay. And then here again I see that the region is it's a sorry, so this is what I have to, so when you click on this, I have selected this. Region is this thing, so category I have to select as country or region. Okay, so done with this. Again, there's only one table, there's no relationship, so you will not see a relationship. Let's create some chart. So if I create a region, you can create a map. Let's say that I don't want a map, I want a stack chart. So let's cover it, the entire area. You can, so this what you see here I'm dragging is nothing but a tile. So you can create multiple tiles here, but for now I'm just keeping it simple. Let's have only one tile in one page. So let's say in the legend I want this region, I want the access to be of type date, and then I want the value to be shown as volume. Okay, so if you select a date, you can actually further reduce it to show how you want to show it. Either you want to show quarter wise or month wise or year wise. So I want to show it. You see here it changes. So if you have the quarter, this is how it will show as a quarter. If you have selected a month, this is how, and date. So I want basically on a month basis. So this is how it will generate. Okay, and then say that data labels I want to on it. So this is how it will show the GDP for each region, and this is how the region are. So I think so. This is the report basically I want to generate. So I have generated based on month and region. Again, I'll quickly save my work. Okay, so this is basically, this demonstrated the data being imported from the JSON file. So let's move on to the next one, which is the SharePoint site. So I have a site here. Yeah. So I have a site here with the name team site, and I have some tool lists which I want to import. So, and those are related. So I have something like an invoices and the invoice details. So let's say that. So let's say the invoice table is basically where I create the invoice. Let's say it has something like invoice date, the due date, what a payment term, what are the subtotal, GST, and this thing, right? And then the invoice details have a lookup of the invoice number here and some other things like what is the description, price, what is the quantity, and then what is the amount. So this I have basically linked this and created a Power App application here, so you can see the how the structure is basically. So this thing shows you this thing they get the data from invoice details, and if you click here, it will show you the invoices details data from here. Okay, so this is how the structure is. Any questions here? Invoices details, invoices. It's very simple. So basically, invoices details have a lookup of invoices. So these two lists I'm trying to import in my Power BI desktop. So I'll click get the URL here. I'll go to my desktop. So first thing what I have to do is importing the data. So again, I'll go to home and then get the data and then click on more. And I want to get data from SharePoint, so I can click on Share and then select SharePoint list here and click on connect. And it asks me for the URL, so I'll just paste this URL and click on OK. So it will go and connect to the site, and it will give you all the lists and libraries here which you want to import the data from. So in our case, it is two lists, invoices and invoice details. Right. So if you click here, it will show you a sneak preview of the things which are there in that list. You can re-verify and then select it, and then say transform data. So I want to, when you import data from SharePoint, there are many things which get imported which we don't need, like the file system object type, the server redirect URL, and all those things. So I need to make the columns clean. So I need to transform the data. Click on that, and it will again launch my query editor. Okay. So earlier what I did, or whatever things I don't need, I can click on this and I can remove it by clicking the delete column, delete key on my desktop, or you can choose the columns from here. Choose columns. So I need ID, I need invoice. This is sorry, yeah. So this is invoice details. So I need this is the invoice number ID, nothing but lookup from my invoices list. Title, price, quantity, amount. Invoice number. So these things I need, and I have to click on OK. Okay. So whatever I have selected, it gets it is here. Invoice number, it is a record because it will show you what? It will show you the details from your invoices, the master list. Is this because they are linked together, right? That's how it is. And similarly to for invoices, I can choose columns. I don't need everything. I need ID, I need title, invoice date, due date, payment terms, GST, invoices, vendor, no vendor address I don't need. I think that's pretty much it. So I'll just click on OK, and then it gives me this. Again, I have to clean the data, so I can actually click on the data, or I can there is something which is there here which will do its magic thing, which is this. So let's find it. Not finding it, so you can change it to date and time, because we have a time here, due date. invoice total as fixed decimal, vendor is text, GST, all the three as one fixed decimal place. So you can select multiple columns and do the things at the same time. ID is the whole number. This is done for invoices, invoice details. Let's quickly do that. Whole number, price, quantity, amount, decimal, fixed decimal. Okay. Now I can further expand this and get the invoices column also from invoices details, but let these two tables be there because I want to show the relationship which is there. So that is done. So I'll just close and apply. So it will import the things from the query editor to my Power BI data model. Okay. So you see here these two tables are there. So if I now go to the table, I can click on the invoices details to see the data, and similarly for invoice details. Now if you go to the relationship tab, now you will see two details but with a relationship. The relationship is between ID and ID. Is this correct? Okay, let's not debate on that. Let's see that. Let me create a new report. So let's rename this page as invoices. Now, so from invoices, let's say that I want to get the details, like for example title, up here. So the best way the Power BI thinks is to use a table. So let's use a table here. You can also select a table from here. So what all things you need? So let's say from invoices, which is a master list, I want the title to show, vendor to show, invoices total, and GST. Okay. So now if I have to show something, I can show it from invoices details also, right? So let's say that I want to include the title, which is nothing but the invoice details title. I want the price, I want the quantity, I want the ID to play the reference from. Now also I need the ID of invoices. So I click on ID of invoices. Now the thing is something is wrong here, right? What could be wrong? Anyone? Okay, the thing that is wrong here is that it is not, looks like it's not properly linked, right? Something wrong with the relationship. Let's check it out. So if I click on the relationship, it shows that the ID of invoices, which is correct, is mapped to the ID of invoices details. Is this correct? It should be mapped to invoices number ID, which is the lookup field. Correct.
Yeah.
So what I can do, I have to change this. So I can double click on this and select from, this is the invoices list and this is the invoice details. So you see this gray column is selected, which is nothing but the invoices. Now this is also selected, which is wrong. So I can correct it by clicking on this. So automatically it shares that one-to-many relationship is there. Correct. So one item is linked to multiple items in the child list. Okay. This looks good. So I'll click on OK. So if you see here, from ID it has changed to invoices number ID. Correct. So if I go back to my visualization here, so I can see that my data is correct now, corrected. So the problem there was the ID. So this is the ID of invoices, which is mapped to these ID of invoices details, right? So now my data looks, my report looks good. So let it be. So this is that. So I can have this one of the visualization here, and then let's say that I want a stock chart. Sorry. So this is here. and click on this one. If this is selected, if you click anything here, it will be changed to that type. So I want a new tile, so I can use a pie chart here. So in the pie chart, so I can show it from my invoices details. Let's say not this. Let's say I want it from vendor, and the invoice total is the value. Okay. The tooltip is something like the title. Okay, so this is the visualization, which is nothing but showing the pie chart of how many, what are the invoices, what is the invoice total for each vendor. So if you click on, if you just hover on this, it Power BI gives you a nice, type, what do you call this? Comments basically on each time. It will give you more information. Okay, so these are the three sources which I was planning to put the data, and that is here. So let me quickly save this. So we are done with the Power BI desktop here. So our reports are ready, and then we are ready to share it with other people. But with this Power BI desktop, I can't share it. So what I have to do is I have to um, publish it to Power BI service, which is again the cloud service. So you can go to cloud service by by going to this URL, which is apps.powerbi.com. Okay, so once you go to this home page, you will see the things that what are the frequently workspaces that you've been working on, what are the different projects, and whom you have shared this report to, what are the recommended apps, and so on. This is at the home page, and on the favorites, anything that you have marked as favorite will be shown there. Looks like I don't have anything recent. Let me refresh this. For favorites, I don't have any favorite. Recent things that you have been working on, it will give you a list here. What are the apps that you have built, shown here, whom you have shared, if anybody have shared with you any report, will be shown here, and the workspaces. So main thing, most important thing that when it comes to sharing is the workspaces. So workspaces are nothing but the folder which you want to group together a project, or group of files or category of files. So you create different workspaces for it. So for this, how do you create a workspace? You click on the workspaces and create a workspace. So I'm going to create a workspace here. I hope a workspace is clear, right? Workspace is nothing but a space where which your work is going to reside, and it can be, you can share this workspace with different people also. Let's give this name as Power BI Training Workspace. You can add a description. And in the advanced, basically you can mention that who will be your people who will be participating here. So let's click on the admins for now, and keep everything as saved, and click on save. So what it will do is it will create a workspace for you, right? So here you can see this is a workspace. Now on the home page of a workspace, you can get the data from your organization, from services, online services, from which you can get the data. If you have the CSV or Excel file, you can get the data from there. Okay, and then from databases and from data flows. And also there are some samples which you can explore to build a report on. Okay, so so what so this workspace is created. Now I have to publish my files, basically this project, from the desktop to my Power BI service. So I can do it by clicking on this publish button. So if I click on this publish button, it will give you the workspace's name where you want to publish. So I will like to publish it on the workspace which I created. I'll select this and I'll say submit. So what this will do is it will take all your data sets, your reports, and all the things onto your Power BI service. Okay, so it says success, so everything is complete. So let us go in the Power BI service and check it out. So it says your data set is ready. So view data set or this thing. So let's click on this and let's expand this. So if you see here, it will create a report based on the file name we have saved. So I have saved this with a training file, and I can click on this file to see my report. Any questions on this? So it gives you same functionality what you have seen in desktop once the report is generated, and also it also gives you a data set. So if you click on the data set, so from here also you can create different visualization. Okay, and then these are the components which we discussed: the data flows, so the data sets, which is the workbooks. So if you import it from Excel, the workbooks will be shown. Okay. Now let's go back to Power BI training. So if you click on this,
Rahul, one question here, like,
it'll be.
so if you're importing and this like Power BI reports from the workbooks, Excel workbooks, right? So and for that workbook, right, I'm getting a lot data from the SharePoint list, for suppose. So
Okay.
from the SharePoint list, I'm just creating some pivot tables, and I'm just creating in the Power BI reports. So any change in the SharePoint list, so is it will automatically reflect here in the Power BI dashboard?
So what the the better way of doing it is you directly create a connection from SharePoint, and then so your SharePoint is in online or on premises?
Online.
Online. Okay. So we have an option of getting data from online also, right? So you
Okay.
directly online import it from online and create instead of bringing another mediator, which is Excel. You'll directly you will be actually removing one layer, right?
Yes, yes.
So it's
Because my
always
most of reports are already read, so I was just thinking. And one more question is, right, so for from the single data source, right, if I want to create a multiple visualization, I mean to say that if I'm going for a matrix or table, right, from the same data source, right, I want to with a different business calculation, I want to generate 3 different tables from the same data source. So can I do it within the same data source, or do I need to create 3 different sources to create the tables?
I think you'll have to create 3 different sources because you have a different logic there, right? So you can import it and then they give a different name to this.
Okay.
Whatever logic it will be better actually.
Okay, okay, I got it. Because I want to just see the again, if I do that way, right? Again, I need to keep like that way. Again, I keep it in the same report, right? The 3 tables I can keep it in the same report.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Rahul, I have one question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Just go to dataset option in this.
In this one. Okay.
Yes, dataset.
Okay. Oh, sorry. In the okay data sets. Yeah.
There you said we can create new reports here also.
Correct.
So what is the difference creating report here in Power BI service and desktop? I mean,
Yeah. So if you go ahead and create a report here,
hmm,
you don't see the steps here. For example, there were some steps for creating it, right? Sorry. So it doesn't give you a very intuitive way of designing the report. Some of the options will be missing here. It's
okay,
always better to do it in desktop and then publish it and then use this report.
okay.
So this
Thank you.
is what is recommended. But for very simple thing, you can still use this, but it's always recommended to use a Windows application.
Okay, then what is the use of this option here in service?
Service is basically for let's say that you need to create a report and you have a you have some mobile app, it's not a mobile app, basically a laptop, but you don't have the desktop. So, but you still can log into this Power BI and then quickly make some changes quickly on the already created reports. So that you can do.
Okay, and one more question. Do you know something about asynchronous communication in Power BI?
Synchronous communication. So, uh, how is that? Because once you import the data, you have a schedule refresh. So, schedule refresh
Yes.
is basically whatever time you decide, it will go ahead and hit the data source and get the latest one and update the visualization.
Yes.
So that is, we can say it's asynchronous only, because whatever you see here, it's the one-time data that got imported from Power BI to Power BI service. So it caches it and then uses it to see the visualization. But the
Okay.
schedule refresh will hit the source again and bring the changes and update it.
Okay, that is called as a asynchronous transformation.
I have not heard it, but that's what I'm thinking it should be.
Okay, okay, okay.
So, okay.
I also don't know about this.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to clear it.
So asynchronous, whatever you see here is basically from the caches data. That's why it's fast.
Okay.
And that's how the schedule refresh is. It will refresh the data and one time activity it is. So
Hmm.
all during before that, before and after, it's all cache data. So
Okay, okay. Thank you.
yeah. Okay. So you see here the components we discussed. So report, so it will get imported. We don't have any workbooks and the data set. Right. So mm, so so let's see this the report, and let's create a data dashboard here from one of these reports. So if you click on this, you have something called pin a live page. So basically you can pin a visualization to show it at the dashboard level. So you can pin a live when you click on this. So it will tell you that you don't have any dashboard for this workspace, so you have to create a new dashboard. So um, let's say I'll give the name of my dashboard and pin live. So it will go ahead and pin the dashboard. So similarly, you can pin a particular visualization also instead of a page. So if you have a 5 or 6 tiles here, you can actually choose the tile which you want to show in the desktop. So for this, I'll choose this, and I want to pin it in an existing dashboard, or you can create a new one also. So let's say an existing one, and the invoices also I would like to. Instead of this table, I would like to see this graph there. So I'll just select this and then pin it. So I can go to dashboard from here, or I can go to dashboard from here also. So if you can see, this dashboard is coming here. So if you click here, wondering why it's not going. Okay, so let me see why it's not going. Reports, I'm looking for reports.
Rahul, do we need to publish this as an app or not required?
Not required basically. You can publish it as an app if you want to again share it, but then Okay, now things are working. Okay, let's cover the data set first. If you go to the data set, you can click on this refresh. So if you want to refresh the data, uh, add on ad hoc basis, so you can click on this. Please prepare to refresh. Take some time. Look up the other three data sources, and besides this is where you can schedule a refresh. So if you click on this schedule refresh, it will from here you can actually click on the gateway connection, which I have actually installed and it's running, as you can see, and this is the option which is for the schedule refresh. So currently it will be off because we just created this, and then if you want to enable this, you click on this and you can actually refresh it on a daily basis on a time zone. You can click on a time when you want to schedule the refresh. So let's say at 6 p.m. and then let's say if you want to do it at the 12 p.m. So, and this is where you specify an email. If something goes wrong, this person will be notified. Click on apply. Now this I'm able to do because I have already set up a gateway on my laptop. So we'll go through those steps how we have done. Okay. And then again from the data side part, here you can actually see what are the related things for particular data set. And another option which I want to show you is get quick insights. So get quick insight, what it does is Power BI will study your data model and it will try to suggest you some things out of it. Okay, so you don't need to recreate it. You can actually see it and you can choose for whichever best suits your requirement. You can actually choose from those insights. So basically these are the things. So volume by region it's going to show you, and then the quantity. So it will study all the things and the three sources and will suggest you something. So from here basically, yeah, I like this GDP by year. So you can actually pin it in your dashboard. Not sure what's happening in the dashboard. So this is the thing. So this is my get insights. Okay, going back. Set details is there. Then we have something like security and how you want to manage permission stuff. So in report section, basically one important thing is share. So we are in Power BI service for the main reason is to share the content, right? So here basically you can share your content, share this report with the people in the organization. So you can give it's like giving access in SharePoint, right? So you can give an email and then any optional message, and you give permission that recipient can also share your report, or he can edit the report, other things. So if you don't want only, if you want only read only things, you can uncheck it and then send it. Share it with them. And this is the name of the access. So this is how the sharing works. So again, we can build a quick insights for the reports also. This is where we can do the settings like the owner name or something, and then you can actually delete the report and then make a copy. Okay, what happened to my dashboard? Let me check from other workspaces if the dashboard works. It's more or less the same thing. Dashboard. I think something wrong with the dashboard service. none of the workspaces dashboard I wanted to see. Dashboard. Okay. So it's not opening, but basically the same thing how the interface of the report would be. So whatever you pin will be shown there as a dashboard. Okay, let's change our workspace back to Power BI training. So what else here? So hope you get the difference when it is related to getting the data of for the Power BI service and a desktop. So the main difference is in Power BI desktop you can create a data source, right? You are creating a data source by getting the data, correct? But in Power BI service you are utilizing the data which is already present. You cannot create new data sets. You can only reuse it. That is the main difference. Okay, so now how do you share this report? So you go to this report, you have some certain options here, right? The file. So in the report you can save a copy, you can print, you can embed in a web portal, or you can import in SharePoint Online, you can publish to web, PowerPoint, export to PDF, and all those things you can do. So in order to see this report in SharePoint, you will have to use embed in SharePoint Online option. Right? So I click on this. So what this will do is it will give you a embed link in SharePoint, which you can use to see this report in SharePoint. So I have this Office 365 training site, which I already have on report. So I'll quickly edit this page and edit this. Click on this, and this is where you paste the URL of my previously generated here. So I'll just republish this first. Let's see. So so if you see this is a modern page, and this is a web part. You can get it by clicking on this add button here, and then you go to search for the Power BI uh, page option. So this is what I've selected earlier. So you can see this we have 3 tabs. So this is how the report is being shown. This is how you can actually uh, integrate it with SharePoint. But now let us go to something called the security. Okay, so let's say that so in this region-wise sales, so there were sales from the various countries like Australia, China, Germany, India, Japan, and USA, right? So let's say that you have different sales person from different region, where you want to filter it out based on roles. So let's say that for any salesperson which belongs to USA should see only the USA related data and not all any other regions, and Japan should only see the Japan related, and India, and so on. So how you can do it in Power BI? So there's something called row level security in Power BI. So you can actually go to Power BI service, and you can go to report, data set, and then click on security. So if you click on security, So it says row level security has been moved to Power BI desktop. So you cannot do it in Power BI service. You have to again utilize, or you have to go to Power BI desktop to do that. So you go here and you go to the modeling tab and then manage roles. So click on, if I click on the manage roles, so I can create a role here. Okay, so my roles would be something like this. US salesperson, let's say. Okay, and which is the table for this? So I want to utilize the table of region wise sales, correct? So and then here I can add a filter. So let's say the region name is equal to USA. Okay, makes sense. So for again, if I have to create it for India, so India salesperson. So these are the roles which I'm defining. Again, it's for which tab or which this thing I can do it from here. So copy table for US sales. So instead of USA, here in this thing is India. So this expression that I'm writing is called DAX expression, and you can include it. It can be a complex expression also. For now, I'm keeping it as simple as it is required. So I have created two salesperson roles here, and I click on save. Okay. So now, excuse me. So I have applied the filter, but if I have to check whether my filters are running correctly, so I can click on view as roles here. So if I'm an Indian person, I can click on this India and say OK. So you see this, I'm already able to see India things, right? So India is purple. Just to verify, India is purple. Okay. And then what about US? If I'm a US person, click on OK. Yeah. So US is purple. Any questions here? So once I have defined my rules, I have to save it, and then since my changes are made here, so it is not available in Power BI service, right? Which is where it matters most. So I'll have to publish it again. So this is in the same workspace. Select. It will tell you that the data set already exists. Do you want to replace? So it's replace. Okay. It's a success. So once I go back to my Power BI service, this, and I click on report. Sorry, data set. First, the permissions are applied on data set. Select security. Now here, since I created two roles, two items are available here. So and then I can add people under each role. So let's say I have only one user here, test user. So let's configure that in US. So let's say that his name is Vijay. Yes, and add it. So you can for this role you can add as many users as you want and then save it. Okay. Now I have the same user logged in the same site. You can see this is Office Web Training, same site but a different login. Let's check it. So I'm logged in with Vijay, right? So Vijay is this person, just to prove I'm right. And then if I see here, I see that the content isn't available. Why is that? Any guesses? Anybody? The content isn't available. That means the content isn't shared with him. So I have to share this, right? So if I go to this and if I go to report, I have to share this report. Either I can share it with this or I can, in this workspace, I can include workspace access, and I can mention it as a member or a contributor, let's say a member, let's say add it. Because if you see here, only one person has the access to this workspace, which is me. Nobody else has. So if I say add here, let's say close, and if I go back and then try to refresh this. Hmm. So something is not. Hmm. It should have filtered out since Vijay is from. Let's try to open this from Vijay's credential. So since he also should have pro license to use this feature. Vijay. So from his login, the dashboard is opening. So the same thing would have happened for me, but I don't know why it's not opening here. Maybe some.
Rahul, I have one question here. So, if you create any like dashboard using Pro license, and the other person who want to view this view report, right? And he should be also having Pro license, or like any general free Power BI user can also use this, can view these reports.
No, for viewing purpose, free is fine.
Okay.
But for creating these kind of a dashboard and creating a schedule refresh and having more users supporting, right? So for that we need a pro license or higher.
But in this case, right, in our case, right now, just we created one dashboard, and just we are unable to see using the Vijay account, right?
Hmm. Vijay account what? Oh, sorry.
I'll say if I create like if you create any dashboard using your credentials, and you just publish that report into SharePoint, and in SharePoint page you added your report, right? And if with the other account, if I want to view the same report, right, will it possible, or like he need any other extra license for that? It's a simple report.
Yeah, he would need a pro license.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the catch.
So people like even if any other user in SharePoint, if for the same tenant or for the same page, like if some other user is also having access, but still he will not be able to see that, right? Okay. So how many people want to view this report? So all these people should have the pro license. Then only they will be able to view these reports.
Yeah, so that's what my understanding is. So
Okay.
so we can actually double check on that. So we'll publish that to the report state. Okay, so what I would do is I will not share this workspace with Vijay, and I'll just try to the reason why row level security could not be working because I have given him member access, and so if I go and share this report, yeah, don't want to get permission, just a view. Licensing part has always been tricky, even if you see Power App or it's very difficult to understand. Microsoft has made very this thing complicated. Yeah, see this the in this region why it's getting filtered here. I think the problem is I have shared the entire workspace as a member to this Vijay earlier. So just like in SharePoint, right, the highest permission will take. So similarly, it was not filtering; it was overpassing the row level security. But if I just shared it with a minimum access, read-only access, so it has now showing the US related data only. So if you see here, which it says US. Okay, so this is how the security works. 10 seconds. Okay, so that's it from the Power BI service related. Any questions on this Power BI service? Okay. So let's go to the deck. Let's see what is there next. So demo we had. Yeah, so this is basically the workflow of the Power BI desktop. What we have seen. The first thing that we do is data preparation. That is basically the getting the data. Okay, the second step that comes is the data modeling. Data modeling, we do it using the relationships or the different views. The data preparation, we do it using. Okay, the next thing is the visualization. That we do the final thing is the visualization. So using the data preparation, what tool have you used? Anyone? Right? We have used the query editor for data preparation, and for data modeling, we can use relationship view or the data view, and for the visualization, we have the report view. So this is what the workflow that we have seen. The Power BI service is basically on the cloud and it's currently available as part of E5 version, E5 Lessons of Enterprise. Power BI service we have seen, and now the gateway. So what are the gateways? Gateway basically is connecting. If you want to connect the on-premises data to your Power BI cloud service, we use the gateway, right? So because without the gateway, you cannot initiate the automatic refresh. You have to. It's like your application is on desktop only. So there are two ways of doing it. One is the personal mode or the on-premises mode. So the difference is basically you will choose personal mode if you want. If you're the only person, then if you want to either refresh manually or you do the personal mode. On-premises mode is, I mean, on personal mode, the gateway you have to create it on your own personal laptop or machine, and on-premises gateway you can install it on servers which are running uh, on day-to-day basis. So that's the on-premises gateway. And again, the on-premises basically works because you have a team, and every team is connected to that server to collaborate on that Power BI project. And the main highlight is the schedule refresh is requires a pro product license. It is not available in free version. It is only available on Pro and above, which is a premium. Okay, so how do you create a gateway? So first thing is you have to download the gateway. So there is an option here. So with this download option, you can either create if you have Power BI service, and you can actually download the Power BI desktop from here also, and you can also download the data gateway from here. So once you click on this, the exe will get download gateway. So this exe will get installed download. Okay, which I already had here. So if you click on this, run it. So it will tell you that gateway is a bridge between your on-premises data and Power BI service. Next. So there are two modes. So on-premises data gateway is recommended because it can be shared with multiple users, and it can be used by other applications like Power Apps, Logic Apps, and Microsoft Flow. And it also supports schedule refresh and live query for Power BI. And you can choose on-premises gateway if it is personal. It's only used by you, and it is local to you. And only schedule refresh is supported, and it is not supported for as live query. So for this, I'll select this because I don't have any server. So next. So it will install. Okay, so I have it installed here. Message gateway personal mode. So gateway is all set up. So basically you'll have to sign it. So for this I need to sign in for it to run. So I'll just give my email address here of my subscription. Yeah, so this is the one. Yeah, so you can see the gateway is ready to use. So I close this. So since my data gateway is connected, I can go ahead in the data set, and I can click on the my schedule refresh will work. It was already on, and this is how it is. This is how simple it is. So, any questions on gateway? So again, same simple thing. So if you want to share it with the team, create an on-premises mode. If you want to use it for a personal mode, keep it on the personal mode. Right. Now we have seen how do we collaborate with people. You create a workspace, and then you can add people here. So you can since you go to the workspaces and Power BI training. So you can. So this is how you can share it with your team members here. Who can also contribute towards this, or if you need a view only thing, so you can click on this and you can share it. Even you can share the desktop like this, right? And with regards to integration with SharePoint, as of now, I think only reports can be embedded in SharePoint. You cannot embed the dashboard for now. Okay. So coming back to the slide deck. So there are some pros and cons in this. So first one is the affordability, which is a pro. So major advantage of using Power BI visualization is that it is affordable and inexpensive. Like you see, the Power BI desktop is free of cost. You can download and start using it. And if you have to use more feature, you have to just pay $9 more from free to use a pro edition. Right. And then second one is the data connectivity. You can basically, it gives you wide variety of data integration or data connectivity options, like Excel, XML, JSON, etc. We have seen SharePoint also. And the prompt updates. So the Microsoft team is constantly working on the updates. We have seen that they have got updates from Power BI Desktop and Power Apps and so on. So they keep on regularly release an update. So, and the fourth one is basically the Power BI embed is another positive aspect of Power BI. So using this tool, basically an app developer can embed or include Drive reports or features into their web-based or other applications. So by using this, you can add Power BI visuals and reports into emails or websites, to increase its reach to users. This one is data accessibility. It's great accessible data. All the data that you import from data source and is stored in a centralized location. You can access the data anytime from anywhere. So you can use mobile app to quickly see the reports, and then since it's available in cloud, you can connect your laptop to internet and use the full feature of the cloud. It's Power service. As many as time. And then the sixth one is the interactive visualization. So the visualization is very interactive. So very easy to drag and drop and configure. It's very easy to use. When it comes to cons, so table relationships. So if your table is very complex with multiple relationships, so the possibility is that Power BI might not be able to handle them well. So you need to create data model very carefully. The second one is configuration of visuals. So you might feel the need to configure and optimize visuals. So even if Power BI does not provide many options to configure your visualization as your requirements, because it has a fixed set of requirements. So it's a con, but again, you can turn it into a pros since it allows you to create custom visuals, right? So based on the requirement, you can create a custom visualization. Then the third, crowded user interface, because you have seen that while creating a report, it gives you very less area to create a tile. So if you have if you want to create many visualization in one page, so it all depends upon the area that has been provided. So if it is less, there's no option but to create another tab or create a page. And then fourth one is rigid formulas, because the DAX is the main language for creating formulas. So you need to know DAX very well if you have to create some custom formulas, and it's not the easiest language to work with. DAX is considered to be a complex language. Okay, and the fifth one is the handling large volume of data. So it's been, I mean, many projects that I have seen is like they are complained that Power BI is little slow in showing the data as compared to other products like Tableau. And then since the limit of 10 GB data per user, so if it is more, then you have to upgrade from free version to a pro version. Right. So these are the cons and pros of it. And the last one comes to a Q&A. Any questions, please?